Hey all, and welcome to Shadow of Space. And today we have another Black Conservative Perspective video. This one is titled Woke Black Woman Receives Brutal Reality Check After Fleeing to Canada to Escape Racism and Trump. This was uploaded April 25th. Hold on. Yes, this is being recorded April 26th, and link is in the description.
Y'all, I was in tears
6 is
this
going to be
morning
hard today.
as I dropped my kids off at summer camp here in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. Just thinking about how I had to
Not to her.
relocate my family 5.5 hours away from our ranch in Montana, just so that my children can be in an environment where diversity flourishes, just so that we could be in an environment where people are loving and kind.
See, I mean, like, I know it's a different state, so it's not the same thing, but, like, think of it this way. Like, the black people who used to shop at that, what was the last place? That new Wall Street market? They left to go live somewhere else because they thought that this country was racist. Like,
As an American, I had to relocate to another country to find kindness and get in a society, an educated society that values diversity.
Several months later.
So I have been a help to the economy in Canada, and I am just shocked that I was treated this way, but I don't need any sympathy or anything like that. I know
applying for PR. Puts an our fair target on your back.
people down in the States have been treated way worse at the border. But I just wanted to say this, be careful if you're going to apply for permanent residency.
No.
That is going to, if you don't get in, that will be a target and a mark on you at the border. They have a way of seeing that, and they will hold it against you. So goodbye, Canada. It was nice. I will not ever come back, but I love you guys. Thank you so much, and I'm praying God's best for you.
Boy. So once again, we gotta talk about one of my favorite kind of stories to cover on this channel, which is the trend of wokes, liberals, Democrats, leftists fleeing the country over racism, hate, and bigotry, and Trump, and then getting.
Isn't this just racism and bigotry?
A brutal reality check that the grass is not always greener on the other side. So yet again, we have another one of these stories, right, that I want to talk about, that I want to react to, featuring a woman who has a ranch in Montana, but decided to flee the country because of Trump
and I'm probably
and
going to be
racism.
covering
Just
it
to
up.
find out that in Canada, the country that she fled to, they were not going to let her stay permanently, right? And also on top of that, they may be racist as well too. And I want to talk about it because I think
see,
like
it's not racism. It's we do the same thing here. Every country does this. They value citizenship. Like, they don't want just random people coming in and saying, yeah, I want to be a citizen now. It's a lot of paperwork. Someone has to put into a file who you are, where you came from, your biographic information, so that you can get things like ID cards, and you can apply for work, and you can pay taxes.
there's no better country on earth, especially for a black person, than in the United States of America. So without further ado,
It's a
let's go ahead
process.
and get into this.
You think you
Okay,
can
y'all,
just run across the border and say, "Give me citizenship"? That's not how it
I want to tell
works.
you why I would not recommend you apply for permanent residency in Canada.
Because,
I'm going to tell
some people would see doing something like this as pulling the ladder up with them as they climb out of the pit, being like, I got in, I applied, and I was given permanent residence in Canada, but you just don't even try it. It puts a target on your back, and it turns into this big thing. Just don't even do it. But I got in, and I'm fine. So don't worry about me. But don't come here.
you our story.
Wow.
Most of you guys know, ever since this election with Rump, I'm the 92% that didn't vote for him. My family and I decided last year that
He's
we would.
he's Voldemort. It's great. They have to come up with little names for him because he is literally he who must not be named.
Start
It's
traveling
great.
abroad, looking for a second home. Our primary home is in Montana on 46 acres, but we said we were going to start looking for a second home out of the country because we have no idea where we're headed with this guy in leadership. So the first country we chose to explore is Canada. That one of the main reasons is because we live close to the border of
Yeah,
Canada.
you wouldn't have to move very far.
5.5 hours from Calgary, and so we said
You wouldn't have to
we've
take a
been there a
plane or
lot
a
and we
boat
kind
and
of
try
liked it,
to
but we've never spent time. We said, okay,
go
let's use the
across the
6-month
ocean
tourist
somewhere,
visa. They
or
give Americans 6 months. Well, we've been there. You guys know I've been posting on TikTok all the positive experiences. Canada is winning in all the ways that matter, in my opinion. Right? Canadians are kind. I've talked.
Canada is winning in all the ways that matter. Fascinating. Fascinating. I'm not sure if that is true,
except for
but
applying
what
for
I do know
citizenship,
is
which puts
based
an
off
unfair
this
target
woman's
on your
background,
back.
she claims to own a ranch sitting on 46 acres in Montana. Now, I don't know about you guys,
Dang.
but that sounds amazing, right? That sounds
Yep.
very nice, okay? It sounds like the American dream, right?
Yep.
Apparently,
And she
she
left
sold
it.
her business, and that is what allowed them to retire. So, I want you guys to understand.
Not
You have
not because she
a
couldn't
black
afford it, not because she couldn't do it, not because she didn't want to do it, but just because Donald Trump was in office.
woman who and her husband successfully sold their business, and they're living on 46 acres in Montana, probably a very nice house, and they feel oppressed, right? They're still oppressed despite living the American dream. So oppressed that they decided to flee the country,
Yeah.
even though they live out in Montana.
Doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
Probably out in the middle of nowhere, where realistically, they're probably not going to be affected by too much of what is happening across the country, right? Far away from a liberal city. But they feel oppressed enough to flee to another country. These people are delusional, right? I just want you guys to understand, these people are not in the right headspace.
Talked about that. Well, my mother got sick, very sick in December. I was away back in the States in Georgia with my mother. My mother passed away in January.
No.
It's been so hard. So my husband, because our son is playing soccer in Calgary, my husband stayed at our short-term rental in Calgary while I handled everything with my mother's estate. So
Yeah.
this last Sunday, I prepared to drive through the border, as I always do, nice, kind, courteous to the border agents, gave him my passport, and he starts, asking different questions. And I'm like, that's not the regular questions they normally ask. Then he tells me to pull over, and I'm like, okay, are you not letting me in? And he said, I didn't say that, with an attitude. And then he said, an officer will come out and talk to you. So I'm like, at this point, I call my husband on the phone so that he can listen. So 2 officers come out. They're like, oh, get out. Don't touch nothing. They got my purse. They're looking through all my personal things in my purse. in which I don't mind them searching the car. They have a right to search the car. I already knew that. And they're going through all my credit cards, all the stuff that's in my purse. And then I'm sitting on this cold bench for 45 minutes. They're searching my vehicle. Now, while this is happening, a white lady also gets pulled. They tell her they want to, they got to search her. Y'all, she was gone in 2 minutes. She was not asked to get out the car, anything. She was gone within 2 minutes. So I'm still wondering what has triggered such a deep search. What is going on? He keeps asking me, like he didn't believe me. You own a house in Montana? I said, yes, I do own a house.
See, because it's part of it is because leaving the country, because Canada doesn't care. You can go into Canada, and they're fine with that. But there are strict rules for going into the United States. Trump has effectively closed the border. Somewhere. Oh, because I had a... I mean...
In Montana. He's asked me that 3 times. So I'm getting a little like, okay, this sounds like racism. Why can't I own a home in Montana? Here is the proof that I own a house in Montana.
Hold on.
Here, what do I own? Time own a house in Montana? I said, yes, I do own a house in Montana. So I'm still wondering what has triggered such a deep search. What is going on? He keeps asking me, like he didn't believe me. You own a house in Montana? I said, yes, I do own a house in Montana. He's asked me that 3 times.
And that's so because they see you as a black person, and there are either 2 things that's happening. Either it is racism, and he is targeting you because you're black, and he thinks that you should be like privileged, or you shouldn't be privileged. My other thing is that it's possible that he thinks that you're some sort of migrant who's trying to get in the country, and so they're either trying to help you by making sure that you don't have any contraband so you're not detained by ICE, or they are just being racist, and they are just, because you're black, they don't believe your story that you're actually established.
A little like, okay, this sounds like racism. Why can't I own a home in Montana? Here is the proof that I own a house in Montana. Here, what else do you need? I've also shown you the lease that we are planning to leave. I have been posting about that. I have been saying my goodbyes to Canadians. I have been thanking them for their kindness. Everything I posted online said that we were leaving because our tourist visa was up. In fact, I was getting so many emails from Canadians trying to find a way for us to stay. And I said, well, no, our lease is up. We are leaving. I mean, our visa is up, and our lease is up. We're moving on because we believe in following the laws no matter where we are. So he finally brings me inside of the station, and he's like, oh, did you apply for permanent residency? I'm like, yeah, last year, but that didn't work out. It wasn't approved. He's like, yeah, well, we want to make sure that you're not trying to you're trying to stay in the country illegally. I said, just because I apply for PR doesn't mean that I am.
Because Canada is a very progressive place. So they want to make sure that if you're going to the US, that you're going to do it, and that you're going to be okay, and that you're not going to have some sort of problem because you're an illegal.
Planning on just staying in the country.
Yeah, but they don't know that, right? They don't know that. And that's the hilarious part about it. So she decided to flee to Canada to escape racism, hate, and bigotry in the United States of America, right? Only to flee to Canada and then have to come back to the United States because apparently the healthcare system is not so great in Canada that she had her mother in Canada with her, right, in order to get medical treatment, right? Notice how when somebody needs actual, emergency medical treatment, like real medical treatment, they don't go to these countries with these supposedly amazing healthcare systems, right? They stay in the United States of America. Regardless, she was going back and forth. She tried to go back into Canada, and the one time she tried to go back into Canada as her 6 months is expiring, right? She only can be there for a short amount of time. She gets stopped and she gets questioned, and they tell her to get out of the car. She gets searched because they know that she's somebody who is fleeing the United States of America and looking for a permanent place to stay. They know this because of the fact that she applied for permanent residency in Canada and was denied, but is still going back to the country despite her visa almost being at the point of expiration. So what you have here is not racism, hate, and bigotry. It's not racial profiling. Oh, they let the white woman through, but not me. It's like, well, yeah, because the white woman probably does not have a large social media following of her claiming that they're looking for a permanent place to stay outside of the United States of America, okay? And they're staying in Canada right now. So, yeah, I mean, that to me would justify these officers doing their jobs and making sure that you're not trying to stay in the country illegally. Which, by the way, we were told having a president in the United States of America that wants to enforce the same laws that are enforced in other countries, apparently that's hate and bigotry, right? Apparently it is hate and bigotry to pull over a black woman and to question her on why is it that she continues to come into the country despite the fact that her permanent residency application was denied and her visa is expiring and she's looking for a place to live permanently. Yeah, I think they have good reason to believe that you may be trying to...
Is that the story? Because she seems to claim that she was telling them about how she had property in the United States. Maybe I'm confused. I might have missed something.
Overstay your visa, right? So, she thinks this is hate and bigotry, right? But it should tell you everything you need to know about the so-called hate and bigotry that these people claim that they're experiencing in the United States.
At the same time, I don't think this applying for private residence in Canada is what's putting the unfair target on your back.
America, right? What they're actually really upset about are what we call microaggressions, right? They don't understand why is it that they put themselves in a certain situation and they get treated a certain way and they automatically just say, well, it's because of race. Well, see, they let that white woman through because she's white. When it's like, well, no, the white woman is not posting on TikTok, right, that she's looking for a permanent place to stay, right? I'm just saying. So, I just find this story to be hilarious. This woman is pretending as if, she's been done wrong. And it's like, no, you're not being done wrong. They're just doing their jobs, right? They're enforcing the immigration law. What we're doing here in the United States of America, what Trump is doing, that, you people find to be so wrong and so racist. Yeah, they do that in other countries too.
I said, I have a whole house in Montana and we are retired. We're debt free. Do you want to see bank statements? Babe, I can show you some stuff. Like, I had already shown him my son's soccer schedule. I had already shown him the lease, that the lease was up at the end of this month, March. He had already seen that. I showed him a picture of my house with my car because he didn't believe that I owned the house in Montana. Showed him the picture that I took of my car in front of my house on Friday because I had just got my wheels done. I got them powder coated. And so I showed him the picture that I texted my husband of the house, the car, all that match. And I said, we have no intention on breaking any laws. And he's like, oh, well, someone here follows you on TikTok. I said, yeah, I know there's an agent that follows me on TikTok. Oh. That agent, my husband had that agent one time when he came through. And that agent told my husband to keep up the good, to tell me to keep up the good work. She told my husband, she said, oh, I follow your wife on TikTok. Tell her to keep posting, keep putting them good posts out there. Now, this agent, whoever that is, knows that I've spoken nothing but positivity about
something doesn't make sense. They pulled you over and searched your car, but the white woman they let go. They had this weird thing where they were questioning you, and then they put you in a room with some guy, and they made you talk to him, and you showed him all of this information that you just happen to have on your phone, because it's all on your social media. And I
Canada. So they use that. They try to use that against me. I'm like, well, so I brought him back to that. I said, what does that have to do with now? I said, I've spoken nothing but positive about Canada.
And there was a person there who watched your videos, and someone told your husband to tell you to keep up the good fight, and yet they pulled you over and searched you, and now you're talking with this main command person? Like, none of this makes sense.
He's like, oh, well, we appreciate that, but we know there's a lot going on in the USA. I said, I understand that. I said, but I follow rules, and I have no intention.
Well, I mean, their logic makes sense because, again, you guys, you liberals, believe that we should not have immigration enforcement here in the United States, right? That this is stolen land, okay? That anybody should just be able to come in the United States of America and stay. So, who knows? Maybe you apply that same logic, right?
See, so, yes, they did. They racially profiled her, but not because she's like a suspected criminal or she's a bad person, but because they were worried that she would get found as some sort of illegal and deported or something. This is like, there's like harmful racism, which is like slavery racism, right? Like excluding you. This is like liberal racism, where they are so worried that you are going into this place that is harmful for you that they are trying to deter you from going there again. They are denying you entry for your protection. This is wild.
Right to flee to another country. I think the wildest to this I'm like, yeah, I think these agents had good reason to believe that a liberal woman would try to overstay her visa, right, in their country, because again, they believe that that is what illegals should be allowed to do in the United States, right? So yeah, I mean,
no, they think that she will be harmed as a person of color, as an undocumented person of color, if she comes into our country.
Going on the United States, we know that you're fleeing the United States. We know that you're looking for a second home, and this is why we are questioning you, because we think there's a good chance that you maybe try to overstay your visa. There's no racism here, right? There's no foul play, right? You chose to put this out on TikTok, and guess what? Other countries have laws that they're going to enforce, right? They're not just going to let
You're right.
So
depending on the videos that she's put out, because what do those videos have in them? I have no idea. I've never seen them. Do they have her house? Is it just her in like a bedroom? Like, depending on the setting, you could not know the wealth that she has. Just here, I mean, I can only imagine just the things that she says on the internet. So, like, who knows what the people who actually watch her content on a daily basis actually think.
Country, they're just not going to, even if you are American.
On trying to stay here. We have options, you know what I'm saying? We sold our company last year. We are debt-free. We are retired. We have been homeschooling for 18 years. Listen, we got plans to go to Portugal, China, Ghana, Kenya. We got a lot of travel plans.
Yeah, and you're going to get the same treatment in those other countries. They're not going to let you stay either, right? They're not going to let you stay either. Who knows? Maybe the African countries might, but Some of those other countries on the list, China, except they're not gonna let you stay there. They're gonna
Well,
force their laws.
I watch out for African
And so he
countries.
just was really scrutinizing me and just really, now again, the white lady was gone.
It's a bit of a
Me, for
palate
some
adjustment, I
reason,
hear,
I was,
but I
they
don't
were
know.
putting so much pressure on me. And finally I just broke down and I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna try to get out sooner. I said, I got 22 days left in the country, but I'm gonna try to go sooner. I said, it's obvious you don't want me here. I'm gonna leave sooner. He's like, no, you ain't gotta do that. I said, yeah, I am. And that's what I've been doing, y'all. So this is my goodbye. Thank you, Canada. Thank you, Canadians. You guys have been awesome. Continue to be who you are. So many of you guys are awesome. I know there's a lot of Maple MAGAs out there that, been giving me a lot of hate and all that stuff. But I just want to let you know, Trump don't care nothing about you. He wants your resources, baby. You look at how he's treating our people down here. Look at what our people are doing.
Like you're doing now, where you had a visa, you drank their wine, and you dined on their fine food, and now you're just saying, well, this was fun, but I'm gonna go back to my home, my actual home now. It was nice, while I was here, but I'm going to take my support for you, and I'm going to take it somewhere else.
Going through.
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to take
apparently
my
you just went through the
support in
same thing
general
in
and
Canada,
put
right?
it somewhere else.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. These people are so delusional. They're so out of touch with reality. It's unbelievable. Like I can't believe it. She's so delusional, but yet she was able to sell a
Well,
company.
I mean, if you look at it as a relationship, I mean, she's basically cheating on her citizenship with the United States with Canada. And now she's getting cold feet on Canada because she thinks that they don't want them. So she's going back to the United States. Like the United States is gonna, well, because she only had a
Apparently, for
visa,
enough
so it's
money
not like
to
she actually
buy
got citizenship.
40 plus acres in Montana to retire early. You have
So
all that
what I said at the
opportunity
beginning
in the United
about
States. You
her
built
getting
this life,
citizenship was
a life
actually
that most
wrong.
people can
But
dream of as a black woman, right? You built that life, but yet you're claiming that you're oppressed. That quote unquote our people are being treated so badly. I just cannot imagine being this successful in the United States, in this country, and still pretending to be a victim, still feeling so victimized that you decide you want to move to another country. It's crazy. It really is. I really don't understand it. I don't get it. These people, their minds, their brains should be studied.
You know what I'm saying? Look at all the people and how they've treated Canadians at the border in the USA and how they've treated other folks. You know what I'm saying? And how
Yeah, you just got that same treatment, right? Look how the Canadians treated you trying to go across the border. It was like you might be coming in illegally. They treated you the same way. So what's the problem? What's the issue? Again, they have a problem with how it's done in the United States, and then
well, because ultimately it's really just, I mean, they said according to you, I believe, if my memory serves me, he said that he knew you. He knew who you were. This is just Big Brother watching out for you.
shocked that other countries are doing the same thing, right? But we're uniquely evil according to these people, uniquely bad. Amazing.
our prices are skyrocketing down their gas and everything else, and how they promised there was not going to be, he was going to be the president of peace, but now, could be taking us into a World War III. So if you think he loves you, I would say, bless your heart, as we would say in the South. Yeah, you should really get really looked at. He doesn't even care for his own people down there. Unless you are a billionaire. If you are a billionaire, then maybe so. You'll get something out of him. But I would tell you to wake up. Ordinary people, nah. So I have no idea who these border agents were. Maybe they're Maple MAGAs. I don't know. It's down there in BC. The border there with Alberta and BC, I have no idea. I just know that it could have been handled differently.
They kept me. I was out in the cold, and they somehow did not believe that I could own a home in Montana and that I was unhoused and that I was trying to stay in Canada illegally when I was within my time frame.
Well, I don't know. Looking like that, right? Looking like that, I would have.
Well, because the one person said that they watched your videos. Depending on how late they got to your content, it's entirely possible they didn't see any of your original stuff.
I would ask questions too, right?
When did they actually start watching? How long have they been following
I'm
you
just saying,
since
you
you've
look
been
like
in the
you're trying to
country?
escape, right? You're trying to go and live in somebody else's country illegally. That's what you look like.
I was within the 6 months that Americans are allowed to be in Canada. I have boosted the
Like a
economy in
trial
Canada.
run?
I've spent a lot of money here.
Your
And not only
free
that,
pass
thousands
expired?
of people have
They were
said
they
that
were
they were
they were
visiting
they were wondering if you wanted to renew your 6-month pass.
Canada just because of all of my positive content. So I have been a help to the economy in Canada, and I
And now
am
you're
just
not. And now
shocked
you're
that I
you're
was
taking that help to their economy and you're giving it back to the United States, which to them doesn't make any sense.
treated this
Which to
way.
me
I
doesn't
don't
make
need
any
any
sense. Why would you
sympathy or
continue
anything
to
like
fund
that.
an
I know
economy
people
that you
down
say
in the
oppresses
States
you?
have been treated way worse at the border.
Right.
But I just wanted to say this, be careful if you're going to apply for permanent residency. That is going to, if you don't get in, that will be a target and a mark on you at the
Yeah,
border.
that's the other
They have
thing that I didn't get. Didn't she say that she was going from Canada, she was going back into the United States? If you go from the United States to Canada, they don't care. If you're going from the if you're, no, I said that wrong. If you're going from the United States to Canada, if you're going from the south to the north, they don't care. That's fine. They want you to. They are welcome. They are there to catch you with a big safety net and then give you a big hug and cookies and chocolate milk. If you're going from the north to the south, if you're going from Canada to the United States, that's not okay. That's not acceptable. They have no idea why anyone would ever want to come into this country voluntarily.
a way of seeing that, and they will hold it against you. So
Yeah.
goodbye, Canada. It was nice. I will not ever
Why
come back.
why
But
why wouldn't they scrutinize your ingress into Nazi Germany? Why wouldn't they stop you at the border and be like, "Are you sure you want to go in here?"
love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'm praying God's best for you.
Hilarious. All that, right? All those contributions she made to Canada, and they still say you can't stay, right? You gotta go. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. I love these reality checks. She found out that no, you don't have a right to just stay in somebody else's country for as long as you want. If you show that you have intentions of trying to stay here permanently and you seem like you're trying to overstay your visa, hey, they're gonna enforce their laws. Okay, that you're gonna be questioned. It is what it is. And just because you come over here, you spend money and you're an economic boost, that doesn't mean they're gonna let you stay permanently, right? All that virtue signal against Trump, and they still didn't let you stay. They still said, nah, you got to go back, right? You can't make this up. You really can't. But hey, some people just gotta learn the hard way. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I have absolutely no idea what happened with this one. Her story was wild and outlandish, and your interpretation of the story, to me, did not match how she described it. So, I have absolutely no idea what to think about this. I don't know. I have no idea what to believe.